We had a couple of really cool scenarios with her on the side of Dignitas, but outside of that, she hasn't really found as much success yet with other teams. Is that going to be something that Norok is going to pick up for Team Liquid? Is it something we're going to see on the side of Granit Gaming? Time will tell, and game number 1 is about to start. An important match for both of the teams, the German versus German setup that we're having here. Team Liquid, albeit not completely, not fully German. Granit Gaming is, though. But Liquid needs to prove right here, right now, that they're still on the fast track to BlizzCon.
Team Liquid, are you going to consider banning out Medivh? Has been a popular ban for a lot of our teams here in the HGC. Sure, some of them were based on what teams are playing against. Obviously against Method, you want to make sure you ban Medivh, but she has been, or he's been banned pretty often. Here comes Sergeant Hammer, though. She's been a big pickup for a lot of our teams. The Team Liquid says, we don't want to deal with her, and they take her out.
Yeah, Hammer has been a bit of a thorn in the side of a lot of teams, and some teams have now started to try and adjust to that with Nazebo picks. We have seen other choices trying to target Sergeant Hammer, especially on a skill shot side. For example, a Li Ming build that we saw from Nick, where he went into Seeker on level 7 and then into Fireflies on level 16, trying to really target Hammer specifically and get the damage in, neglecting Calamity and that setup. And it worked out quite well for them. That wasn't a series between Method and Leftover. So there's definitely ideas of how to handle Hammer right now, but oftentimes we see her banned these days just because she became such a huge part in the meta.
Kane and Blaze come out for Team Liquid. Blaze has been having a bit of a rough time lately with Urel and Dahaka getting the priority in the top lane and Thrall even being mixed in. But here, Blaze comes out for Team Liquid in the 1-2.
Very early. I also expected Urel to be taken. Even Leoric is a hero that we have seen on Infernal Shrines more so than on other maps where he has fallen off a bit more. But a very early priority in the place for the bunker plays around the shrines in particular. But already the Alexstrasza pick that you talked about earlier has been coming to pass here. Diablo together with that as a setup. There's theoretically even some synergy between the two of them, depending on Alexstrasza's and Diablo's level 1 that we could see. Haven't seen all teams go for that, but those extra regeneration globes can be fantastic if you make that play.
And Hanzo has started to make his way back into this battleground as a high pickup. We saw it yesterday between Dignitas and Fnatic, if I remember correctly. The explosive arrows allow for him to clear out the shrine, but also give you that forceful fight. He's been falling off in terms of being only played on BOE and Curstala, but him being back here on Infernal Shrines is a treat to see.
Liquid now, banning out Medivh. That's one of the points that we highlighted a little bit, especially yesterday. I mean, you had one of those scenarios where Fnatic just snap banned Medivh every single game. They don't want to deal with it. Other teams have started to do the exact same thing, but as you said with Diablo, that's added synergy that you're trying to avoid. But for now, Nuburak and Thrall. So already a bit of a thought process with a very melee-heavy setup that explains a bit more why this early Blaze pick, since Bunker is now getting additional value for them. And they have now also heroes that can really dive deep. To be honest, I'm curious to see what the backline is going to be, because with this setup, you can basically protect anyone.
Yeah. My mind immediately goes to Tychus, but Tychus, for some reason, is one of those heroes that just never floats up here in the HGC. But it feels like it'd be nicer with Diablo. You have a strong front line, then you would also be able to fight around the Shrine phase with Odin. Junkrat comes out in Urel for Granite Gaming, so we get a little bit more Dark Monk Urel.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure if I really want to see Tychus here, just simply because I feel Tychus, with a nerf on the range that happened a long time ago, is in a very tough spot, even with the triple front line. Reyna makes a lot more sense, I feel. He still gets the damage output there. If not for, I mean, with Diablo and Urel at the front, you want to have someone that has sustainable damage. Outside of that, I could have seen them with a mage even, and try and get the damage out there. But I feel that makes a lot of sense for them. They have also damage output against Diablo through Thrall. I mean, we talk a lot about the level 4 and level 16 synergy if you spec into the Wolf on both talents. Granted, we don't see that as much in Europe as we do see it in Korea, as we've seen it at the the Eastern Clash. But still, the level 16 talent Alpha Wolf is a huge threat to Diablo, and that's usually a pickup when you see him on the other side.
I just miss Tychus, and honestly, I've been playing a little bit more. He got buffed in the live patch, actually, so he looks a little bit on the scary side. Just one of those heroes I feel like could be jabbed in there, but of course, Raynor is much more safer.
I mean, Tychus just really suffers from the attack range. That's the biggest problem that he has, because in theory, if you look at it, he should have a big part in the meta, since it is so tank heavy right now, especially with a focus being on high hit point tanks like Merlin, like Diablo. So he should add a lot of value there. And you see him creep up in some of the Eastern games, but when you talk to Western teams, the argument is always exposes himself so much danger that it's just not worth it because you have other damage dealers that do his job nearly as good as he does.
Well, no Tychus today. We get a Rainer instead as we get ready for Infernal Shrines. Looking over to Granit Gaming, the plan is pretty telegraphed. They want to control the Shrine phase. They want to have control over it. They have the Junkrat to come in there and make sure that it's hard for them to get the full engagement with this melee composition picked up. And you have Diablo in the bodyguard and, of course, Alex Straza to back you up. They should be able to take these Shrine phases. It's a matter of how does Team Liquid find those picks they're looking for.
I mean, Urel and Diablo are just a terrifying combo because it makes Diablo even tougher to kill, and I mean, it's already nearly impossible oftentimes as is.
Tough as nails.
So it's going to be tricky for Team Liquid to pull that off, and maybe a few talent adjustments can do the trick here. They have a lot of CC at that front line. That's the one thing that I really like. With the triple melee, there's a lot of control that they have against individual targets if they lock them down. So we're going to find out now if they can pull it off in game number 1.
Here we go. Game 1 on the left side. Arcaner playing Rainer. Hasuov's on Thrall, Sport Billy on a Nubarak, Nurok on Deckard, and Eternal on Blaze. It is Team Liquid.
Liquid has to prove themselves here today after they bombed at the Western Clash, not the performance they wanted. They go up against Granit Gaming with a meme craft on Hanzo. Darkmork finds himself again on that off lane. Urel for him. Wolf Joe on the support with Alex Straza. Raid Boss currently on Junkrat, and Nando, of course, on Diablo at that front line. And we come back again to a point that we already made on our first day when we had Granit Gaming back. We definitely seen them use the downtime that they had as the Western Clash and the Eastern Clash happened quite wisely. Especially Darkmork now picked up a few additional heroes, and one of them being Urel, which is of course a massive asset now for the team. And they have been playing Urel a lot, so definitely a great change for Granit Gaming to make sure that their offlaner is picking those meta heroes that have such a huge impact for other teams that now they can also rely on them.
Granit Gaming reminds me of a flower. They've planted the seeds, it's growing, and they're starting to bloom now. They've really brought it all together. You have Darkmork working on the side laners. Having Urel come in here was a great change of pace. The alterations in the role swaps have been enough for them. Nande on that front take has really delivered. But you have Raid Boss from behind just constantly, or Memecraft constantly from behind, working in those auto attacks, showing how to do it with those rage characters. Hanzo, for him, has been a great pickup that we've seen.
I'm not sure if like a German team would really appreciate the analogy between them and a flower. If we can make it
a beautiful flower, a tulip.
Give me a second. If we can make it a cactus, then maybe we're in. Maybe we're talking.
A cactus would be a German flower, wouldn't it? Just completely efficient, just drinks water and survives on its own. Doesn't have to do much more.
Yeah, so can we agree on that? Then I'm in.
All right, I'll drop the tulip analogy for another team. Dig will be a tulip.
You can't make, for a German team, a tulip analogy because that's the Netherlands, and from a soccer perspective, we have a big rivalry going on ahead in the past, so that is definitely something you need to drop.
Okay, well, Granit Gaming is a strong, firm cactus. They have grown.
There we go.
They are efficient now.
I like it.
And they're a team that Team Liquid has to worry about. Don't water them.
What's the... I wanted to call them the 5 cactuses? Cacti?
Cacti?
I already have a problem coming up with the with a plural in German.
I think it's cacti.
Cacti?
Yeah, cacti.
I'm not going to go for it. We're not going to drop the analogy that far. We have to look that up first because I've probably enough.
I love how invested you are about cactuses. Like, what?
I just wanted to make it's like a bit of a pun about like the 5 cacti, cactuses, whatever. But I have trouble enough to pull it off in German. In English, it's nearly impossible for me, and I don't trust you when it comes to language skills.
I think you
So I'm going to wait for Twitter and the community to let us know what's happening there. What's happening in the game, though, that's something that we can definitely talk about. We have some talent adjustments, and that's the Behemoth armor again on Reyna. We've seen it actually a surprising amount at the Eastern Clash. At the Western Clash, everybody started to go back into fight or flight, since it's just a great tool for immediate damage reduction when there's an attack happening upon you. Behemoth armor is more so beneficial because you get the immediate reward of the 250 hit points, but of course it can stack towards the late game quite nicely as well. It's still a bit of a weird one for me, because I still feel that fight or flight with a cooldown reduction is absolutely amazing.
I just enjoy the passive health, but you get the 200 bonus maximum health coming in instantly, and then of course you're able to grind out a few more. You know that Diablo and Urel is going to get engaged on you at some point. It's just how it is. You know, Diablo, Urel is some of these heroes that can force you to when they want to, and if you can survive through that, that's when you have the chance to answer back. And so being able to get the extra health gives you a better chance to survive.
Liquid, by the way, is going straight down to the bot lane here, so they're giving up the first one, and and as such saying, okay, you get the first shrine, that's fine, but we need to take some structures in exchange for that, so that we have a trade-off that allows us to still stay even in experience once you get that punish.
I mean, recognizing exactly what Granite Gaming was going for with the draft, trying to control the shrine, so you slice the map in a different way, and you go for the experience instead on another part of the map, and then of course rotate when you need to defend. And they have great defensive tools. We have melee heroes for them.
Yeah, they definitely have quite a few of those available that can also, when it comes to the melee setup, the triple that we see for Team Liquid is definitely a great to protect Reyna later on, and also the setup that they of course have with Earthquake into a Hyperion if they want to play it that way. There's a couple of ways that you can run that. We still talk about Sundering as a potential option for Thrall, since we've seen it a lot at the Eastern Clash, but in the Western scene, Earthquake is still the dominant tool to be used.
And this is the dance that you see. Ooh, hang on. Ooh, Wolfjo realizing that Team Liquid was missing. Checks out the bush with the Flame Buffet. Gonna be just fine there. Buffet, sorry. I call it Buffet. It's spelled the same word. Anywho, Granite Gaming is now pushing up here in the top lane.
That's how you pronounce it.
It's Flame Buffet, but I say Flame Buffet.
I say buffet because
I like buffet too.
It's a delicious buffet of flames that's being dished out here by Granite.
I mean,
and it tastes delicious.
Isn't that the point of being a dragon, being able to flame things down to eat them? You make a buffet on your own, and you also kill your opposition. It's perfect.
I'm just going to change the lore there. Fits better.
All right, we're going to go with buffet from now on.
First Punisher starts to go in, and this is exactly where Granite Gaming is now fighting the value. So we didn't see a single kill yet, and this simply comes at the rotational game that the two teams are playing here. Team Liquid has recognized, well, we're gonna have some trouble before level 10 to go for a shrine, so we're not gonna fight you for it. We go and move on to other lanes to get some value, and then we have a lead-in experience that you will negate through the objective, through the Punisher, and then we're gonna reset from there on. This is a play you can make after, I think roughly a year ago, there's been changes to the Punisher, so now the early on is a bit easier to stomach, and that's exactly what Team Liquid did there. So we find ourselves on nearly even footing, slight lead for the blue team, but it's all about objective number 2 and 3 from here on out.
I mean, that's a true focal point when you're playing multiple melees in a composition. You cannot fall behind. You will feel the poke start to really wear you down as you're not on even footing. So you have to focus on clearing out those waves and being equal when it comes to experience. And so Team Liquid does just that.
We talked also yesterday about potential adjustments on Blaze. We didn't see that from Last Hope, as he's been playing Blaze for Fnatic quite a bit yesterday. But we're seeing it right now. Crossfire taken as a level 7 talent choice again. That talent had a huge impact at the Eastern Clash and started to become the absolute meta for the Korean teams. And it's, again, mirrored here, as we're having a bit of a fight over that camp down here. Nanda with a great invade and able to steal it away as Raid Boss on Junkrat provided the space.
Ooh, Lornado!
The Lornado comes through and Nanda is in trouble.
Murok showing what exactly he pulled off the last time these two faced off, finding the Lornados to help secure kills. Gets a pick on Diablo, and Diablo, did he get his souls reset? No, he was at 94 souls, so 6 more until he hits that 100 mark, so it's actually going to be a slight saving grace. When you're a Diablo and you get picked off early, you want to have those souls for your next fight around the shrine. Exactly,
and the death timers are still extremely low, so that's not really a big upset for Granite Gaming. They were at least able to steal the camp away from Team Liquid, but of course those heroic abilities came just in the nick of time for Nuro to get value out of the Lornado and at least trade the camp against the kill against Diablo.
So second shrine should be spawning soon. It will be here in the middle of the map, and Team Liquid prepares for that by grabbing their night cam to the top left. Granite Gaming is setting up to do the same in the top right. They're just waiting for an indication from Team Liquid they are there.
Also, live binder taken for Wolfjo and Alex Straza. Fantastic, of course, in that Diablo setup, but it's an... I mean, I don't really want to call it interesting in the sense that we don't see the talent. It has been heavily discussed, of course, within the community, especially after the changes to it. But it has been rarely seen in HGC Europe. On the North American side, more so a regular pick, but in Europe, it's still a talent that is picked very rarely compared to its
counterpart.
Thank you.
Yeah. On the other part, though, you look at Alex Straza here with the Lifebender, and you look at Team Liquid, there's no major burst that's not surprising. Sure, you have the Ancestral Wrath that can come in, but you can kind of understand when they're trying to go for a kill, so you can land that Lifebender and get the healing and get the full maximum value. So I like the exchange here, just because Wolfjo should be able to identify when Team Liquid is trying to find that kill and save his target.
Yeah, definitely. And at this point, we have that shrine being fought over. And you can tell that this time Team Liquid is trying to make that stand. They have heroic abilities, so now they're taking the position with that heavy melee setup that they are running and are trying to just dominate that space. Again, the Lornado trying to isolate Darkmock here, but already we're seeing Diablo with a Lightning Breath going straight for it. Cocoon against Ural here also being used by Team Liquid as they are blowing basically every single cooldown they have, and they don't get anything out of it.
Therno finds himself in trouble on the right side as he dives deep, does get comboed in, but able to use that Pyromania to stay alive. Same time, Darkmont steps up with the Ardent Defender and controls that front line. And Granite Gaming can focus on the objective. They turn around and clear up the minions. They're at 38 now, just need one more, and they'll be able to start pushing out that middle lane.
This is not really looking too good for Team Liquid. In this fight, they really tried to isolate a target. They used every single cooldown that they had, but just simply the prowess of Urel and Diablo at that front line was insanely difficult for them to break through, even with a melee-heavy setup that they use here. And it creates space for Hanzo and Junkrat, who are just absolutely uncontested. No one of Team Liquid's side can get even close to it. That's again where you could have theoretically gotten some value out of a Sundering choice, but instead they decided in favor of Earthquake, and currently it just doesn't give them anything.
And the best part for Granite Gaming too is they didn't have to use Lifebender in that initial fight, so they had it for the push afterwards. When Tornado came out, they were able to keep Hanzo alive, and he was able to back on up. Now, good news for Team Liquid, they had a strong defense on that Punisher. The fort in the middle, sure, the turrets got taken up, but the fort still stands healthy. So Team Liquid, with the slight experience lead they continue to have, is still hanging in the game.
From a rotational perspective, Team Liquid is doing the better job. I like the way that they're trying to set up traps, even though they didn't get any kills out of them just yet. But simply them making these moves and making those little plays is already great. And at some point, Granite Gaming might fall into one of the traps, lose a hero, and then lose some of the map control that they're trying to establish. But the problem that Liquid has is in the team fight right now. This is something where they have not really found an engage that works for them.
Both times they've been in a fight, they've tried to Tornado Diablo forward into a situation where they can pick him off. That became a little bit more difficult when 10 connected and Lightning Breath allowed for Nande to drop that Lightning Breath and be unstoppable. Nande actually on that front line having trouble now. Again, shows off that Lightning Breath and what you can pull off with it. Able to escape, but Alexstrasza gets put in a web.
Yeah, Alex is in the web here, and again, Arrow comes out, and immediately the Riptire. Nice triple connect that we have. Wolf Show still falls as Inubarak goes in deep. Sportbilly can save himself through the bunker, but Darkmok not so lucky. He goes down.
Half a second away, Granite Gaming was from saving Alexstrasza, getting the heal, coming in from Hanzo with that live bender instant. Did not connect, Alexstrasza fell, and Team Liquid continue to push forward. They brought in the Lightning Breath, and could not be able to get in a spot where they could get a kill. It just had the huge lightning hit Diablo, and it blocked over straight into Urel and got the kill. Team Liquid now up 15-13 and working towards 16. Great fight for them there. Cocoon being able to find Alexstrasza was a saving grace for them.
Yeah, it definitely was, because the initial engage against Diablo did not work out. But losing Urel with the Ardent Defender still being up, bit of an issue here. I'm actually wondering if they decided to simply let Urel fall because they already lost one.
I could see that.
And didn't want to sacrifice such a big cooldown because they wanted to save it for the next shrine.
Massive cooldown.
I don't really think that's the case here, but I guess you can make an argument for that.
Nande continues to be the focus for Team Liquid, constantly trying to pull him into the fight. Able to escape thanks to his teammates. But Team Liquid, they're content with pushing. They take down the well in the middle lane, put a little damage on that minion wave too, and they're about to hit 16, which is where we talked about it. The Alpha Wolf comes online for Thrall.
And Liquid is just doing a great job with these rotations, as we highlighted earlier. So now they are in a position where they have 16, they have the extra talent. Granite Gaming is trying to find experience at the top lane. And with them about to eliminate the fort at the top, that should actually get them a little bit closer, but probably not enough to grab that talent for the next fight.
There goes the keep wall, cleared up. Granite Gaming starting to push forward. Urel's trying to work on the experience that you were just mentioning, but Team Liquid should have a head start on this Shrine phase. And it's going to be an Arcane Punisher. Yeah, one that they can push with.
I don't think that Granite Gaming can actually engage into that fight on the Shrine at all. I don't think they're going to get level 16 in time. So if they do, they will have to fight with a talent disadvantage, and they're definitely thinking about it. An Arcane Punisher is going to be pretty difficult to handle, but Granite Gaming is currently just trying to get the experience so that they can at least defend with the same talent here. It's gonna be rough though. Arcane Punisher is tough to beat. You have also Alpha Wolf available on Thrall. We talked about the talent a couple of times now.
Yeah.
And it is going to threaten Diablo a lot more. If he gets locked down again, as he did in the past, then now they have the damage output to actually drop him.
Let's see if Granite Gaming is well equipped for this Punisher. Team Liquid actually waiting for this, realizing that Granite Gaming was go for an aggressive invade to take away their Night Camp. And they take it away. So Team Liquid will clear that up. They want to make sure they have to deal with any pressure in the top lane coming towards them, but Granite Gaming is taking this opportunity to engage. Here comes the Dragon's Arrow as Arcaner is hit.
They're going in without the 16 talent. I don't really like that choice here. They're trying to go for Hazorbs. Diablo is still out, and here comes the Tornado, and this time Nanda should not be able to walk away from it. Hazorbs is already moving in, as is Inubarak. They drop Diablo. He goes down, loses his souls. And Granit Gaming with a very questionable decision here to engage before level 16 after they already sacrificed the Punisher.
Are they going for a surprise factor? Were they just hoping that Team Liquid would assume that they wouldn't do anything there and then maybe get a pick? That felt so weird.
It was an incredibly weird engage.
Yeah.
They must have just thought that they can force a 5 versus 4 or 5 versus 3, and that their rotation on Team Liquid's side wouldn't be fast enough. But Liquid, I mean, we know that Liquid was already basically there with the entire team. Maybe they thought there was less time that passed between them seeing a hero in the mid lane and the rotation, but that was a very, very questionable choice of Granit Gaming.
Something had to be missed, some kind of information that we didn't see. Nande lost his soul, so he is going to be in a spot where he can be focused down, and you're already seeing it as Nande gets cleaned up. Team Liquid easily dispatches of him.
I mean, Nande just gets dumped on now that he doesn't have the souls anymore, and that makes that defense so much harder, and it could actually lead to the game ending, since Granit Gaming is now losing the keep. Oh, but the arrow is great, and Hazops is low, and so is Arcana. The follow-up that we saw from Junkrat nearly secured a kill here. But as it stands, Team Liquid will have to possibly back off here. They're still trying to make the core play. Hazops is a bit low, so is Arcana. Here comes the Riptire. And they get value. Down goes Deckard Cain. And I don't think that Liquid can finish this.
I'm having flashbacks to the Western Clash where Team Liquid went for an aggressive push on the core when able to get it. Granit Gaming clears up a couple. Diablo's about to be back, and they are still in the match.
72% on the core of Granit Gaming, but they hold on for now. That Riptire was worth a lot. It was a great play by Raid Balls, getting a lot of damage in, taking down Deckard Cain shortly after. It was scary though. It was really one of those moments. If the damage doesn't come through and Liquid is still at full HP as that keep falls, then there is a chance that Liquid just right-clicks the core and tries to end it right here. But then after losing Deckard Cain, they just decide, guys, this isn't worth it. Let's move back. We have the keep. We have a 2-level lead. There is no need for us to try and get the core now, die, and then give them an opening back into the game. Let's play this safe, because we will hit 20 around the time the next shrine is up, and that gives us another massive lead.
Exactly. Their priority shifts. Team Liquid will be looking for that 20, but Granit Gaming now has another chance to win another team fight. All they need to do is get Nande stacked up again on souls. Right now he's sitting at 21, sitting in the top lane trying to soak up as much as he can. But Anubrak in a position where they might be trying to get a pick on Nande, maybe even dive in this forward. There we go. Epicenter hits. Nande attempt to escape. Here comes the MPL, and just completely destroyed.
Yeah, again, Diablo alone just doesn't stand a chance after level 16 anymore. Alpha Wolf is too strong. If he's fully stacked with souls, he can survive that long enough so that the arrow comes through, and then maybe there's a counter engaged by Granit Gaming where they can attempt to turn it around. But with only 28 souls, Nande just doesn't have the hit point pool to withstand any of this. So Team Liquid is just getting kill after kill. They're closing in on the Storm Talons, and they are playing a very safe game in this late stage now.
Sportbilly keeping up the aggression, goes for a engage in the middle lane. Doesn't use Cocoon though. Could have dropped it if he was looking to try and get that pick early. But Team Liquid connects with 20. And with Catapult pushing in the bottom lane, they can make the play to move for the Blizzard Camp and then poke around this top keep wall, make sure it's opened up. But with the Punisher being in the middle of the map, that's where they want to have their priority. Open up this, that way they can go straight for a keep.
It's a very clean game by Team Liquid. 7 kills against 1. They sacrificed the first Punisher since they realized they would be at a disadvantage with the melee heavy setup. But then after the first one, they started to take those team fights a lot more regularly. Granit Gaming making a couple of mistakes that Team Liquid exploited. And that's definitely what it comes down to here. Team Liquid realizing when they have an opening, when they have a chance, going for some aggressive dives, and played a pretty clean game. I mean, there were a couple of hiccups where Liquid could have maybe played it a bit better, but in general, if you look at the way this had played out, they knew exactly when to run with their advantage, when to push in, when to take some structures, and they played especially on the rotational side a fantastic game where they missed very little experience in waves, and they denied a lot of lane experience to Granit Gaming.
Same time, I feel like Granit Gaming's been doing all right, except for that fight in the top left, which was a little awkward. I felt like they were pressured into a scenario where they tried to make something happen where they didn't have to. But again, it comes down to vision. Maybe they saw only 3 people there, 4 people there, thought they could get the kill. And now they're in a situation where they are going to have to fight at a disadvantage. They're stepping up already, thinking about going for the full engage, and here comes Nande.
They're going for Arcana, but already Nande getting low here. Alexstrasza trying to keep Diablo alive and barely manages to do so. But this fight is by no means over. The idea of Granite was to go for a flank, and that flank already failed. So at this point, Team Liquid just has to reset and play it slow, and they should be fine here.
Granit Gaming's hanging in there though, 2015, and as I say that, Urel gets blown up again. Ardent Defender not used though. Urel deleted.
Second time that happens. I mean, there's a lot of CC, there's a good stun chain that Team Liquid has, and they rely heavily upon it. This time again to take Diablo down, and with that second kill secured and the third one coming in against Alexstrasza, Liquid is now looking poised to take game number 1.
It gets worse too. Bottom lane, Catapult's already starting to hit the core. Should be able to get cleared up by a raid boss. But the idea of lanes constantly pushing in is something that they have to deal with. Swarpily actually runs straight down here, and he goes straight in for raid boss himself, and he gets the kill.
Gets a solo kill here. The rest of the team is now moving into the catapults. Were still there for a few additional shots, dropping those shields. And now Liquid is going for it. Great game by them. 11 kills against 1. Very dominant performance here on the first map. And they are going to claim victory on Infernal Shrines against Granit Gaming.
Just another day in the office.